Welcome to the Milk Bottle e-commerce show, brought to you by Milk Bottle Labs, one of the world's top-rated accredited Shopify e-commerce experts. Founder Keith Matthews interviews e-commerce professionals, app developers, and entrepreneurs to share as much digital knowledge and e-commerce tips and tricks as possible. This podcast is kindly supported by our go-to e-commerce tools. Rewind.io, the leading backup solution for Shopify, BigCommerce, Trello, and more. Let's just say it's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever get for your Shopify store and all your valuable data. Simply go to rewind.io/milk bottle to get your first month for free. We just love Klaviyo, our preferred automated email solution we use in every store build. No wonder it's trusted by over 65,000 ambitious growing brands worldwide. Find out more on klaviyo.com/milk bottle. Looking for easy accounting for e-commerce? Cinder can relieve you from manual data entry and automatically generate an accurate P&L report, balance sheet, and inventory management for your business needs. A few clicks and you'll get access to the key metrics to find the hidden streams of income for your business. Use a coupon code EasyBooks for up to 40% off. Check out the show notes for further details.
Hey folks, welcome back. Today I am delighted to talk to Aaron Day, the CEO of Amaze, a mobile e-commerce design platform available free in the Shopify App Store. Based in California, Aaron was previously the global partnership lead at Canva, where he focused on integrating its core technology into the world's leading e-commerce platforms, solidifying Canva as one of the fastest growing software companies to come from Australia. Aaron has also held various CEO and leadership roles for software and digital imaging technology companies, establishing and expanding businesses across Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. I am delighted to welcome Aaron. Aaron, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the line. How are you?
I'm doing great, Keith. It's great to meet you, and thanks for including me in your podcast.
Absolutely my pleasure, Aaron. I am aware of you, and I am aware of what you do, and I am aware of what you have done. So on this occasion, it's my pleasure. It's great to have you on board. Aaron, in terms of your location, this is the boring question that I ask everybody. Where in the world are you right now?
Yep. So I am in Huntington Beach, California, which is in Southern California. And for those of you who are geographically a little bit challenged, it's about 40 miles south of Los Angeles. So that's where I'm located.
Earthquake territory, is it?
Yeah, kinda. We're far enough away from any of the major faults that we might get a little shake once in a while, but not too bad. So.
Very good. Well, I've no idea what it's like. Actually, I do, because I've been there a few times, but I think it certainly sounds like a very sexy place. So as I say, you are very, very welcome. And the reason I ask that is because the world we now live in, Aaron, and the businesses that we now build that are virtual and we can do everything online. It's just amazing that the two of us can be talking and recording an interview and yet be so far away from each other.
You're more than welcome to use the word amazing as much as you want in the podcast. I don't...
Product placement free of charge. Very good. Look, a little bit about yourself. I know that you've had a lot of experience on the software side and the e-com side. I mean, prior to coming up with the idea for Amaze, what did you get up to?
Yeah, so most recently before Amaze, I was global partnership lead for Canva, which basically means I was in charge of all the e-commerce integrations for Canva globally. Prior to that, I was CEO of 3 different companies. One big industrial manufacturing company, very high tech, one private equity group, and then was a senior leader in a big publishing software company. So most of my life has been around high tech and specifically software around the design, publishing, sort of marketing space, but I've been doing it for about 25 years.
And I suppose this might be a stupid question, but prior to Amaze and prior to developing a Shopify app, was Shopify on your radar before you entered the sphere through Amaze?
Yeah, so Shopify was very much on our radar, but I will tell you that it wasn't like a direct connection. So the first phase of the business of Amaze was geared towards sort of the professional designers, the ad agencies, all of the sort of support organizations that supported the merchants going into Shopify. So we were more focused on sort of like supporting the support network of Shopify. And then as COVID hit and the world changed, and we just felt like, it would be better to sort of enable the Shopify merchants to do a lot more on their own simply. we pivoted a bit. We pivoted towards helping those Shopify merchants directly. And then, probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, is when we really leaned in and started understanding the whole ecosystem. So it was always on our radar, Keith, but it probably wasn't as much of a focal point as it is now, because we were dealing with the support network of Shopify merchants.
That's an interesting answer. A lot of people say that, it was on their radar. They knew who they were. They knew what they did, and they knew the sort of clients that Shopify serviced. But I suppose as the ecosystem and the, specifically the area of applications has grown, they're heading for 2 million stores. There's a lot of individuals like your good self, Aaron, that are kind of realizing that, hold on, I work in this sector, but in actual fact, if I change slightly or move my technology left or right, I could actually carve out a piece of that ecosystem. So, and as you say, that connection to people moving towards Shopify is obviously connected with their explosive growth, which again was driven by COVID. So that makes perfect sense. In terms of Amaze, Aaron, okay, I know that it's a wonderful product, but it's a complex product. It's a simple product that solves a very, very complex problem for a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs. So if you were to summarize exactly what Amaze does, just summarize it for the listeners at a high level.
Yeah, so what we do at a high level is we really try to think about how the merchant can get communication to their potential customers very quickly. And it's a very simple statement, but if you think about what's involved in updating a merchant site, a website, a storefront, as inventory changes, as products come in and out of favor or trends change, it's a very complicated process still. Even though Shopify and a lot of their partners are trying to simplify it. If you interview merchants, they will tell you that there is a process that they go through to update their sites. And so Amaze was built to allow merchants to respond to their customers in minutes. And that's the entire premise, right? We want a merchant selling furniture or selling wearables or cosmetics to receive data, look at the data, and then be able to create a selling page or create a selling experience in minutes that really allows them to connect quicker to their customer, wherever the customer is. And that's really the high level of what we're doing. And we're getting huge feedback that it's really helping and it's really working. But our intention, our goal is to help that merchant sell better by giving them tools that just let them connect faster with their consumer.
Aaron, would I be right in saying that what you're doing and what you're creating makes perfect sense at the moment? Because if we look at a busy e-commerce entrepreneur, whether they're doing $1 million a year, 100 grand a year, or 10 million a year, they all have a similar set of challenges in terms of feeding content to all of the different channels that are now available. So how does Amaze fix that problem? Like when you say you're giving them the ability to create content or specific pages, just let's go into the granular detail now. So if I sign up for Amaze through the Shopify App Store, immediately what can I do using Amaze?
Yeah, so let me first give you there's 3 products that we have today. There's what we call Amaze for Partners, which is actually free, which is great. I mean, we believe in this space so much that we're offering the basic product for free. Then we have something called Amaze Pro, which is not in the the Shopify App Store, but it is available to all the Shopify merchants. And then we have a product called ShopLink. So what would happen is any merchant in Shopify would go in, and the first thing they would do is they would find ShopLink, and they would decide if they're going to use our Amaze for Partners product or our Amaze Pro product. The real difference is Amaze for Partners is very simple. I mean, it's like filling out a form. It's been really, really sort of dumbed down so anybody can use it, but it still has all the power of the Amaze design engine. Pro basically gives you a wide open canvas. So we have merchants using both, but let's just focus on Amaze for Partners. So what happens is you go in and you activate something called ShopLink, and it was built specifically for Shopify, where the ShopLink connects into the merchant's inventory and SKU system. So basically, it's a one-time setup, and then every time a merchant adds a new product, adds a new SKU, all that data, the product imagery, the videos, the product description, the pricing, the buy now button, the shop now button, all that stuff is connected to the design engine. And so what happens basically is, and I really encourage everyone to try it. We have hundreds of beautiful templates that are optimized for mobile selling experiences, for social selling experiences, for websites. And so what happens is a merchant would go through and pick out the latest and greatest template that's geared towards their product category. And we have templates for every major Shopify product category. They would then just add product. And this, Keith, this is the hidden gem here, is that instead of having to go and program in, products and SKUs and shopping carts, it's no code. So all they have to do is just add product, and their entire product inventory shows up in our sort of like an asset feed, our data feed. And they can just go in and click the product they want, and then it automatically populates the template. And it doesn't just grab the content, it grabs the shopping cart, it grabs the SKU data, it grabs the product description, everything. So within seconds, you have the new products in the template. And then you can go in and you can personalize it a little bit. You can add in some video content or whatever, very simply. And then we give them a few things they can make sure it's on brand. We have this really amazing preview engine where you can scan a QR code and share it with your company or your work, your peers, and say, what do you think of this? And they can actually view it on their mobile phone at the same time while you're editing it. And then you basically publish it when you're done. And what's great is that you either publish it back to your Shopify storefront, or we give you the ability to publish it to all your social channels. And what merchants really love is that, not only can they update quickly their storefront and the Shopify ecosystem, but they can actually share that same selling, and we call it selling pages. So a lot of companies will call it a landing page or a product page. We call it selling pages because that selling page can then be shared on all your social channels. And the beautiful thing is it's the same thing, and it has a shopping cart link there already to it. So now you're selling on your store and you're selling all your social channels within a matter of minutes. And that's what Amaze does. And every time we get a new merchant to come over and they start trying it, they realize quickly that the challenges they've had in the past of going from their storefront to sharing that and selling through social channels or through mobile channels has just been, we've just completely eliminated all the stress around that. And that's what we do very well.
Aaron, that's a very, very clever service, because a lot of the services that are out there at the moment, they're on the front of Shopify or they're on the front of whatever e-commerce platform that you're using. The ability to pull that data, like prices and exact descriptions, is extremely, extremely powerful. So the customer sets up the account, they plug in their social channels, and then, as you say, you give them the opportunity. If they wanted to push it to one of those social channels, they can push it basically at the click of a button. I mean, the way you describe it, it's saving marketing departments, or as we keep referring to, busy entrepreneurs, it's saving them hours of time. But in addition to that, it's also increasing their chances of selling more because they're pushing relevant content and, as you say, a clickable link straight back to the store. I mean, what's the reaction to your customer base or your peers to the product?
So there's a couple of things that we notice. One is because they don't have to worry about the accuracy of the data. So when you're a merchant, when you add a product to your SKU system, you go in, you think a lot about the product, the description, the pricing. Is it organic? Is it not organic? Typically you spend a lot of time thinking about the product shoots and the imagery you see in there. And so when you can connect to that and you drop that into a template, and then and the shopping experience, everything's there. The trust factor for the customer is just better. And we can see it. We can see it in the growth and conversion rates that those merchants are selling more product and they're having a lot of less like returns and stuff like that aren't coming through as much, right? So we know that that's working. But the biggest thing over the last couple of months, and I want to give you two really good examples. So with our Pro product last fall, one of the merchants, the furniture merchant, had a lot of their inventory not show up. And they had run all these campaigns, and they were promoting furniture, different types of furniture sales, and their inventory didn't come in from the ships coming in from overseas. And they're like, what are we going to do? So they started grabbing the products they had in inventory and creating really cool selling pages. And basically, the merchant called me and said, "Look, you saved my year."
Yeah,
because I was able to get the products that I did have available back up quickly within minutes through the channels, and we still hit our number. And that was like the first aha moment for me. Like we even though we might not be used for everything on that store all the time, we were such a valuable tool to that merchant. We saved their business for 2021. We launched the Amaze for Partners product in January, And one of the first use cases was an actual fashion show. So one of the merchants was hosting a fashion show. I think it was the second or third week of January, and they had just grabbed our product. They had their storefront and they had all their products. And as they were doing the fashion show, the audience was really responding to certain lines of clothing better than other lines of clothing. And it was very obvious from the feedback. So they were actually using the feedback from the audience. They were going into our product, changing the product, just dragging and dropping the different merchandise into the selling pages and putting it back up there. And we were getting real time feedback that product sales were increasing. Right. Because they were doing it so quickly during a fashion show. Yeah. And those are the type of things that we just get really excited about, because you can, we're a design engine but we're a selling tool. We basically, our mission is to help them sell more. And it was just really powerful to watch the feed coming in from the fashion show and how the products were updating on the fly. It was really, really amazing. So. Yeah.
Wow, Aaron, just hold that thought and we'll just take a break here to listen to our sponsors. Rewind.io is the leading backup solution for your Shopify store. Did you know that there's no way of recovering lost data? If your store is gaining traction, app developers or multiple staff may enter your store, and there's absolutely no way of fixing human error. Rewind.io allows you to rewind your store back to its original state, so you can reduce your business risk immediately with the Rewind app. It's so easy and is the cheapest and best insurance policy you'll ever need for your Shopify store. Get your first month for free by simply replying to your first email from Rewind and mention this podcast. Now, regular listeners will know I love Klaviyo. It's the single biggest revenue generator I've ever seen across hundreds and hundreds of Shopify stores I've been in. Klaviyo's data-driven marketing automation platform is sophisticated enough to power those legendary campaigns from the big brands you admire, but they make it simple, they make it easy, and they make it fast. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/milkbottle. That's klaviyo.com/milkbottle. So Aaron, if I'm reading it right, really what it's doing is it's bringing social selling to another level, because the situation you've just described is that all of those assets can be edited on the fly as well. Is that right?
That's correct. You can drag and drop assets on the fly and bring them into the system and really be responsive to trends, social trends.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I had in my head when I was just doing some prep for this was, in terms of the scale of the customers that you have, okay? And one of the beauties about Shopify is the fact that there's people running hobby stores on Shopify, but there's also publicly quoted companies running on Shopify. So in terms of the scale of the customers that you have, is there a sweet spot, or have you created, and I'm expecting, I think I know your answer to this, have you created a product that absolutely everybody can use? It doesn't matter what sort of scale, number of SKUs or revenue they're doing.
Yeah. So look, the CEO in me says everybody, right? And I have to say that. So our mission is to enable anyone to sell anything with simple tools and publish anywhere, right? So when you think about that, I mean, whether you're selling a service, whether you're selling a product, whether you're a creator, if you're a maker, I mean, I love the whole maker space. People at home creating something, crafting something, and then wanting to sell it and trying to figure out channels. So we're thinking about the small, the medium-sized businesses, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the makers a lot, right? But what's interesting is that our pro product, our pro product really does service the medium to large-sized customers very well, because the pro product, it's a little bit more challenging to use. I don't think it's difficult, but it's just not as simple to use as Amaze for Partners. But the pro product gives you some additional things that a large enterprise might want to use that a creator or an entrepreneur might not think about yet, right? Or might not have the resources to use yet. So the nice thing is that we cover the space. We cover the entire space with the Amaze for Partners product and the Amaze Pro product. So.
Is there a trend that you see? Like, is this the sort of product that could even be used by agencies to serve other customers? Or do you see it as a product for e-commerce entrepreneurs that are doing most of their marketing in-house?
So both, but I will tell you that the agencies are just starting to discover one capability that we have. And I know how connected you are to the Shopify ecosystem. And I noticed recently Shopify just launched something called Shopify Pop. And it's sort of a competitor to Linktree, right?
Yeah.
But what agencies are discovering is that if you use our pro product, you can actually, through real simple API calls, embed all your social feeds. So any merchant or anyone selling on Shopify can actually create a selling template, a selling page, and embed it in that page within like seconds. You can have all your social feeds. So agencies are thinking about, okay, well, how do we bring influencers and more brand recognition or more excitement to these merchants? Well, as they discover the fact that you can simply create a selling page that has your products, all your link bios, and all your social channels there in one page, they're like, well, we can aggregate all that into one selling page. So agencies are adopting the impact of our tool for the influencer space, whereas the Amaze for Partners product is really we're adding more and more features to it just to make it as simple as possible for the small merchant, the smaller size merchant who has less resources to look like they had a professional agency help them, right? Yeah. And that's we want them to have this beautiful experience on their selling pages, on their storefront. So we're putting a lot of effort into making the tools allow them to do things that look like it was professionally done by an agency, but they can do it themselves very quickly. So,
as long as you can do that, you're onto a winner. And again, just rolling back to Shopify, one of the reasons Shopify has won the e-com race, all over the world is because that's what it allows small business owners to do, is to make them look like, large scale e-commerce enterprises. So what you're saying there makes perfect sense to me. As a CEO, and it's very clear that you're very passionate about the product, you also understand its capabilities. But here's a complete kind of left field question. Does it become hard for you as a business leader? Because I can hear in your voice that you're constantly talking to people every day. That's then giving you more ideas and more ways to pivot and shift the product. So the more you learn, does that become a challenge? Or does it just mean that you've got this great long roadmap ahead of you and it's exciting?
Yeah, so it's a very good question, Keith. Our chief product officer, her name's Laura Haynes. She came from Canva as well. And sometimes I think she pulls her hair out with me because, this space is changing so rapidly, right? And we're so passionate about helping people sell things better, right? And we think about it every day. So whenever we see something out there, this idea that, hey, this might help our merchants or our creators, our influencers sell a bit better, we start talking about it, and I get a little bit overexcited about it, which is my nature, right? I can't help it. And the filter is, if you can simply embed in a selling page the tech that's being discussed or the idea that's being discussed, then we will pursue it. If it's something that causes an extra step in the selling journey, it's not connected, then we pause and we think about it in a different way. And so when we think about like one great example is like in video or streaming video commerce. Like, can you, do you want to put inside of a selling page video that has the ability to actually let someone buy the products that are in the video, right? People call it streaming commerce or video commerce. And so we've been thinking about that a lot. And it's a really good example because it feels really sexy. It feels really like, wow, that's really cool. But it's also very complicated for the small merchant to figure that out. So it's something that we're working on, but I'm not so sure it'll be part of like the Amaze for Partners product. It might be a new product we launched for somebody who's really focused on having video in different areas that have a shop now button linked to it. Yeah. So we think about it. We think about it a lot, but the filter is, can we simply embed it in a selling page without a bunch of extra work for the merchant? That's our filter. And then it's great because we have a huge list of things that we think are cool, and we narrow it down to things that we think are going to impact. And then we do a ton of user testing. We're testing every week with merchants what works better, what doesn't work better. We're looking at the data, and if the merchants seem like they want it and the data shows that they want it, then we'll invest in it. So,
Aaron, thanks for that. Just to roll back to a point you made there about the system and the e-commerce environment changing, it is quite amazing because there's things changing now every 2 or 3 months. Like a year is such a long time now, and if you take COVID out of it, you really, really cannot be asleep at the wheel when you're in this area at all, because trends come and go, things change, new software becomes available. It's interesting you mentioned that you had a filter. I think the other challenge with software companies that we see is that I think some software company owners and management seem to think that their software is supposed to actually do everything. And you made a very good point there. You said you obviously have a filter, but let's say it gets through the filter, it might actually be a different product. It mightn't actually be value add that could be added or another price plan to your current product. And I think that's as hard to filter out, number one, and also to completely remove a feature, I think is just as hard as adding features to any piece of software.
Yeah, I agree. And it's probably goes back to our strategy around our pricing model. If you look at the ecosystem of Shopify and what they're in sort of the no code high end tech that exists in the ecosystem, we made a decision that the base product would be free because we feel like if we create a lot of love and we help merchants sell better, then they will have no problem paying us a small amount for really high value features, right? Yeah. So our model is like, look, get going, sell more. Here's a free product. And then we'll have some features that we've developed over time that you pay a little bit for. Like the most expensive software we sell today is $19.95 a month, right? So if you think about it, if maybe I spend $200 a year, maybe I spend $150 a year with our company for software, and my ROI is that most merchants get that back within minutes, right? So we're really geared towards helping them be more productive. And then over time, we'll develop some premium features, but they're not going to cost a lot. I mean, it would take a lot for my team to convince me that anything we build would sell for more than, let's say, $9.95 a month, right? It's just not our mission. Our mission, we will have we're gaining thousands of customers every week selling on our system. And we just are really geared towards helping anyone sell things. So we'll make money. We'll be okay. We'll keep growing. Yeah. But I don't see us going to a model that isn't affordable for the small merchant.
It's a great philosophy to have from the start. Another mistake, especially in the Shopify ecosystem, a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge, I suppose, Shopify app developers have is defining pricing. Pricing is very difficult. But if you have that philosophy from day one, it makes your pricing decisions or your changes in pricing or your additional features, what price plan get features and what price plans don't, makes it much easier. Aaron, in terms of the future, in terms of the product, in terms of improvements, do you have anything exciting to share?
Keith, thanks for asking that. And before I share, I want to tell you that I really appreciate the opportunity today. It's been great to speak to you. But so we have a lot coming down the path, and I think you'll start to realize that I'm a bit of a LinkedIn junkie. As you follow me and I follow you.
How are you?
I hate to say it, but I probably go to sleep at night, thinking about LinkedIn, but whatever.
Don't. That's a bold admission to make on a podcast episode. I won't edit that out.
But all you hear about in the media recently is NFTs, and things around crypto and blockchain. One of the beautiful things about our software, and there's a ton of tech under the hood, is that beyond being this really powerful design engine that allows for people to sell things simply, it also acts as an aggregator. So when we think about components that someone might need, we can build it ourselves, but we can very simply add things in. So we started thinking about NFTs back in October, November, and saying, look, what's the real value of an NFT to a merchant? And the real value, I think, today is, I'm going to sell physical products or I'm going to sell a service. And what if I could offer sort of a premium one-off event, or what if I could offer a limited edition, and I could take a product and I could mint an NFT from that product, so that my consumer maybe buys the product and they buy a special NFT to go with that product. And it's a marketing event. It's sort of a promotional event around it, right? And we started thinking about like the workflow. And so we're super, super excited to announce that in our Pro product right now, and this will migrate to Amaze for partners very soon, is that we've launched our first set of NFT selling templates. And what's really exciting about that is there's not a design engine in the world that I've seen where you can actually create a product and create an NFT, but you can also take multiple NFTs and drop them into a template, imagine sort of a gallery of NFTs, and then we can actually mint the template. So basically what you have now is you have the ability to say, here's a product line, here's a fashion line, here's the fall season, the spring season, the summer season. And somebody who's passionate about your brand could actually buy an NFT of the entire gallery, right?
Okay.
So we've heard from merchants now that have been sort of beta testing it, how excited they are about the fact that we're launching templates that can be minted, which means you can actually mint a URL. So as this gets out into the marketplace and people start to see what we're doing, it changes the NFT business for merchants, because merchants can now say simply, I don't have to worry about like the marketplace of where the NFT is sold. I can just run a promotion on a gallery of templates that have been minted into an NFT and make it more of a marketing event where I figure out the whole NFT business. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help them say they're in the space, they're thinking about it, they're testing, and we're giving them some really cool tools to use. So I'm real excited about it. I have a feeling that we'll see a lot of merchants start to try it and test it, and then we'll collect the data. And then maybe next time you and I talk in a few months, we can share with you some of the results and how it's going with the NFT marketplace. So
Aaron, let's do that. I can't think of the name of the lady that runs it's a very well-known New York Times technology podcast. I'll put it in the show notes. She recently interviewed one of the first NFT artists that is only producing digital images. And it will change your view if you listen to it, or if you're obviously not you, but if any of the listeners are NFT skeptics, which when it comes to NFTs and crypto and that whole area. But I'll put the interview in the as I say, in the show notes. It's a very, very, very interesting area. Again, it's changing very, very quickly. And hats off to you as the CEO of a software company that can make changes that are so big so quickly and be first to the market. I mean, well done. That's just great news.
Thanks, Keith. I really appreciate that.
Aaron, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I'd like to meet you for a beer. If that airplane is flying near Ireland in the future, give me a shout and we'll grab a pint of Guinness. But in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll loop back around, and I'd love to bring you back on and share the growth in about 6 months' time. And, from a Shopify point of view, from a customer point of view, from a software point of view, there will be heaps of learnings for everybody, and we'll have you back.
That's great. Appreciate it, Keith.
Thanks for listening. All of our episodes are available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. A special note of appreciation goes to our sponsors, Rewind.io, the leading backup solution for Shopify and BigCommerce store owners. Get your first month free by responding to your welcome email once you sign up for your free trial on Rewind.io. Cinder is worth considering for your e-commerce accounting and reporting needs. Use a coupon code EasyBooks for up to 40% off. Klaviyo, which helps e-commerce brands easily create personalized, multi-channel marketing campaigns using your most powerful asset, your customer data. To get started with a free trial of Klaviyo, visit klaviyo.com/milkbottle. That's KLAVIYO.com/milkbottle. If you're a Shopify user with an exciting story to tell, reach out to the team on podcast@milkbottlelabs.com. Until next time, take care.